Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the book corner today. My name is Aaron. I like books, bookstores, bookish things. And today I just wanted to share a short video, a bit of an update, just on what I'm reading these days. Well, if you look at my Fable, it's the app I've been using. Perhaps you're familiar with it. Uh, there are way too many books on my currently reading. And some of them are more reference type books that I dip into every now and then, big, thick theology books. So I wanted to share for this video 4 books that I'm currently reading that are more cover to cover type books that I'm working my way through. So without further ado, let me show you what is occupying my reading time these days as I drop my books on the floor. The one I dropped is this one right here. How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler and Charles Van Doren. This is a classic. If you read a lot of nonfiction in whatever genre it might be, this really is a must-read book. I love the irony of having to read a book to know how to read books better. But it's been really helpful. They talk about 4 different levels of reading, uh, spanning from you recognize letters and can put words together to your reading a number of books on a similar topic and just soaking in that topic. And they have strategies for basically every level of reading. I'm about that far into it, maybe a third. My sister got it for me for Christmas, so thank you to my sister. And I started reading it pretty much right away and dropped off a bit as I got reading other things. But I picked it back up just this morning, and it's been a very helpful resource uh, as I think about reading. So, How to Read a Book, Mortimer Adler, Charles Van Doren. It's one book I'm working on. This one has been a TBR for me forever, for a very long time, and I was finally able to get a hold of it from my local library, and that is this right here, 1984 by George Orwell. Very well known dystopian novel, takes you to a world in which Big Brother, that's Big Brother right there, he is watching you. He is watching your every move. People have telescreens in their home that basically monitor their movements. There's all kinds of censorship taking place. History is rewritten. The main character, Winston, his job is to rewrite past newspaper articles so that the party in power is always right and never wrong. Uh, I'm not very far into it, only that far in, just over 100 pages. So it's really, really setting things up. But it's been a fascinating, sobering look at things like a mob mentality with 2 minutes of hate that each day at work, uh, the characters experience each day at work, where they hear from or see a video of a dissident, someone who's against the party, and they're filled with rage against them, against that individual. Things like children turning in their parents for thought crimes. The dictionary changing frequently in terms of what words mean. It's a really interesting, sobering look at what Orwell, who wrote it in 1948, if I understand correctly, how he envisioned future society going. So 1984, this is a great one, sobering one, I think important one in many ways. Next up, these are in no particular order, by the way. They're kind of what, well, first fell on the floor, but then how they're piled on the table next to me. Next one is this one, The Creedal Imperative by Carl R. Truman. This is a book defending churches' use or speaking about the importance of creeds and confessions for church life, for churches to function properly. Truman argues that really the difference between churches is one that churches that use or adhere to historic Christian creeds that have stood the test of time, that can be evaluated by everyone, or churches that just have a very informal, maybe statement of faith on their website, or even an unwritten statement of faith that can't really be examined. He's saying creeds are unavoidable and trying to make a case for why churches should adhere to the historic Christian creeds and confessions. If that's at all of interest to you, if you're from a church tradition that uses creeds and catechisms and that kind of thing, and you want to understand why, this is a helpful read. If you're from a church tradition that doesn't, and you want to understand why some churches do, this is a helpful read. If you don't go to church and you want to understand a little bit of how some churches tick, maybe this is of interest to you as well. Anyway, The Creedal Imperative, Carl R. Truman, very interesting read as well. The last book I'm working on right now is this one right here, The Warden and the Wolf King by Andrew Peterson, the fourth and final installment of the Wingfeather saga. I have loved these. If you saw my books that I read in 2025, I talked about volume 1 or book 1 in the series, and I absolutely loved it. And I have loved the next 2 books as well. They're meant for young readers, preteens, early teens. I'm in my mid 30s, and I think I'm still young enough for them. So there. Great book, great story. I love the world that Andrew Peterson has built. I love the characters. I love the themes of redemption and wrestling with responsibility and stuff like that. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some deep themes that come across in a book that is so full of humor and fun characters, and Peterson just writes and keeps you in suspense. And book 3 just before this had so many twists and turns at the end, and I had to pick this one up right away. I'm about that far into it. This is the thickest one, but it's been really good. So fun to go on an adventure reading these books. Boom. That's what I'm reading. Those 4 books. Like I said, I have other kind of resource books that I dip into every now and then that help me with just understanding theology, stuff I'm teaching at my church. But these are the books that I'm reading cover to cover, or plan to read cover to cover. That's the hope anyway. So anyway, drop down in the comments, what are you reading these days? I'd love to hear that. And if you have any recommendations of books that I should read, drop those in the comments as well. But for now, I hope you have a great day. And now turn this off and go read a good book.